Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Broyans Farm. I'm Logan, if you didn't already know. Today I just got into the greenhouse and it's supposed to be one of the warmest days of the year. I think it's supposed to get up to like 93 degrees and it's pretty foggy. When I woke up, you could barely see anything. Now at least you can see, 100 yards. But anyway, we're gonna be loading truck today. So what I like to do before all the guys get here, like Sammy, well, when I say guys, I mean guys and girls, Sammy, Ben, Frank, and Steph, before they get here, I like to get a lot of the stuff watered because we don't want to put stuff on the truck wet. If we water stuff and then put it on the truck, especially flowers like petunias over here, what'll happen is they will sit wet because they're not going to get any air on there, and then the flowers will end up looking like this by tomorrow morning, or even maybe worse. And it's kind of hard to see, but that looks terrible compared to a flower that looks like this that is absolutely beautiful. So I want to get all that stuff watered and dried off because it's very important that my flowers are beautiful or people will not buy them. So I'm going to come down here and start off with the hanging baskets, and I'm going to water a couple rows that I already seen needed some water. So how I do that is I've got my main water on right here, comes through the dosatron. I'm not going to fertilize today, so these are both off. It's going to come up, bypass the dosatron, come right out here. I'll turn my hanging baskets on. The water will run through this hose, and then right here is all my lines of hanging baskets. Right now I know I only want to water rows 3 and 4, so that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4. So that would be 1, 2, 3, and 4. Really simple. Great invention. Whoever thought of that years and years ago was an absolute genius, because that saves so much time. And I couldn't imagine for bigger greenhouse growers how much time that saves, because when you're growing hundreds, if not thousands of hanging baskets, that gets to be a lot. I think we grow in total about, this year we grew the most we ever grew, and I think it was right around 600, and hopefully next year we can bump it up more because hanging baskets sell better than almost anything. So I'm gonna kind of do a little walkthrough. I haven't done one of those in a while. Basically what you see now is what we're gonna have for the rest of the season, and once we sell out of it, it's gone. I've already had to tell a couple customers at market for things they've been asking for that were sold out, or they're pretty small and we're just waiting for them to grow, because now we're at the point where it's peak season and we haven't, like I said, we have a couple things to transplant yet, but if we would keep seeding stuff, that would mean it wouldn't be ready for another couple, like 3, 4, maybe even 5 weeks, and then by that time it's too late. Everybody's got their gardens planted and nobody wants that kind of stuff no more. So down here, I'll start off, is our early tomatoes and peppers for our field. This is for us. Those 2 tables right there, and then this whole floor. But right here on the corner is zinnias. They're going to be for sale. Here is some zinnias that are just coming out in blossom. Some different other zinnias. We still have some pansies and violas. Here is our last planting of petunias. Really coming along nice. Gerber daisies. We have impatiens. Here is the onions that we didn't get planted in the field that we had no more room for, so we're selling them. Here is more petunias. Here's the first and second planting of petunias, which we'll be taking most of them today for market tomorrow. We have snapdragons. Here's our potted tomatoes. They're a really big seller. Gaillardia. Here's mints and coleus, celosia. Oh, not coleus. Coleus usually here. I'm just so used to it being here, I just said coleus. That's celosia. Gazinias. Oh, I can't think. Salvia, eggplant. Then we get over here to all of our flats of tomatoes that are in 6-packs and more potted. I mean, we have so many different varieties of tomatoes. I'm gonna kind of try and name a bunch off the top of my head. Mountain Fresh, Burpee's Big Boy, Beefsteak, Beef Master, and then there's like the grape tomatoes, which would be Juliet and Sugary. We have then cherry tomatoes would be like Red Cherry Large, Sweet Cherry 100, and I think there's one other cherry that we grow. And then there's Rutger and Red Deuce we grow for the high tunnels. Jetstar. Plum tomatoes would be San Marzano and Roma. So, and that's not even all of them. That's just a couple I can name off the top of my head. Over here we get into the portulacas, thyme. Right here is Thai basil. Over here is the dahlias. And then we get into peppers, which we have all sorts of different peppers. From
sweet to hot, and then super hots, which is like the Carolina Reapers and Trinidad Scorpions in those pots right there. Here is our hibiscus. Here is some young parsley. Here's the Prince Tut. This is a big seller for us. The only problem with Prince Tut is that everybody thinks this is a perennial and it's only an annual. If it was a perennial, I could sell probably 3 times the amount. But even though it's still an annual, it still sells really good. Here is our dianthus. That was just transplanted not long ago. And then here is a little bit of our pole crops for sale. That's not going to be for the field. And then, as you've seen before, here is our big section of sunflowers that we sell. And we actually just got our last plant. Actually, we might have one more tray yet, but this is our last planting for the sunflowers for the year.
And we could sell a lot more sunflowers. It's just that we don't have any more room in our greenhouses to grow anymore. So we're limited to what we have here. We can grow like 4 different batches at once. So then over here in number 1, if you've been watching my videos, you'll see that we just seeded all of our, like, I think pickles and cantaloupe, watermelon, cucumber, zucchini. We seeded all of them in our plugs for the field. And now you can see they're doing absolutely gorgeous or beautiful, whatever you want to say. This was the first flat to come up, and then now all these just popped up. That's how much they grew just since yesterday. And you can see how good they're doing. Some of these are just a little bit behind, but I mean, there's a ton here, and you can see how well they're doing. We plant 3 seeds in one, and you can see almost every one has 3 seeds coming up in. Some of them only have 2, but like I said, they're still young, so I guarantee a lot of them are still gonna pop up another seed yet if you only see 2 in the plug. So they're doing really well. Here is our last planting of cucumbers and pickles for retail sales. We also planted some pumpkins, and I thought we planted some, and some yellow zucchini. I thought we planted some crimson sweet, but I guess not. They're already out here. I think we had some left, so we didn't decide to plant any more. Here is our tall 6-foot sunflowers. As you've seen in my previous video, here is all of our mid-season pole crops we just got planted. Dad, Ben, and I. Beans. Here's red beets. Here's the last batch of sunflowers that we got to transplant for retail sales. You can see how they got a yellow leaf on the bottom. We'd never like to see that. But what probably happened is they got dry, and when they get dry one time, that's what happens. It won't harm them at all. It's just that the plant did not like that, obviously. And once they get transplanted, they'll come out of that, and you'll probably never notice it again, as long as we don't let them get dry again. That's why keeping stuff watered the perfect amount is very, very important, because if not, you'll have plants that look like that, and that's obviously no good. Down here, which we've already started taking a bunch, is our seed geraniums. We have the pink. Over there's like a darker red. There's actually, I forgot. Here's more of our early season tomatoes. Here is Impatience, and more seed geraniums, which is like a lighter pink. Over there's like a darker red. Here's our plugs. Some that we still have left. These will all go today, which is like the bush crop, pickling. Here's some crimson sweet watermelon. And then we'll go back down here now into the seed geraniums, which is like the lighter pink. Here's another red. We have the white. That's actually a zonal geranium we had left. You can see how it's already losing some blossoms, but more will be coming out. And then more white and more pink. Down here is our Senna geraniums. For some reason, these seem to always, but we grow a lot of them because they sell really well, but they never seem to want to sell until about this time of year. Now all of a sudden we can sell 3 or 4 flats a day, versus when we've been going and only been able to sell 1 flat a day. So it's just funny how some things work. Here's another red. Over there is like a darker pink seed geranium. And then we have more Impatience over here. Then we have our firework grasses, which is just an annual, not a perennial, which everybody asks that same question too. Here's some spikes, some sweet potato vine. Here's some more of these super hot peppers. Right here is the Carolina Reaper. Hanging basket tomatoes. Hanging basket tomatoes went really well for us this year. And now we're waiting for our, I don't know if this is like our 2nd or 3rd, maybe even 4th planting to grow. Here is our verbena. Verbena, we made some notes this year because, like I said, we're still kind of new to this. And we got verbena in, and we get verbena in plugs, and we plant them in those pots. And after we planted them, you know, a couple weeks went by, they were absolutely gorgeous. They had tons of blossoms. They were blooming beautiful. And then it was still too early to go to market. And then all the blossoms, the first set of blossoms started to die. And now we're kind of waiting for the second and third sets of blossoms to come out. And they just kind of look bad because we're waiting for those blossoms to come out. It's not that they're dying. It's not that they like weren't taken care of. It's just that, you know, they couldn't get sold when we needed them to get sold. And now we know for next year, we got to get the plugs later.
Here is our lobelia. This is just what we did not put in our hanging baskets. Down here is rosemary. Here's our last planting of marigolds. Then we have our vinca vine. Over here we still have some bacopa left. And then to finish off this greenhouse, for the most part, is our spotted petunias. And it's funny because they're really supposed to look like this. These ones look like this, which is really cool. And then these ones are just completely white, which they're not really supposed to look like that, but I think they look cool, so I'm sure people are gonna buy them. But like I said, that's most of it. Now I think I just had a door closed. Frank and Steph are probably here and we're gonna start loading truck. Oh, and I did forget about our strawberry plants. This is all we have left right here, which is the June bearing and the ever bearing. We leave these outside because they can take colder nights and they don't like it so hot in the greenhouse. Here is all of our hollyhocks. And then over here is our daisies and heuchera. And if you've seen my previous videos, you'll know that the heuchera were beautiful and everything was growing really nice until we left them out one night through a frost and then it killed everything. And now they are in the process of regrowing, which, like I said, they look really good, but they're just gonna take probably another 2 weeks and then they should be back to normal. So we got the truck about halfway loaded. They're throwing on some of the log planters right now. You can see they got coleus, gazinias, seed geraniums, marigolds, verbena, and then a dusty miller. Oh, and then there's begonia. So we're kind of limited on how many we can take. We've got about 10 on here. And as you can see, we've already got a bunch of petunias, zinnias, and marigolds, pansies up on there. So we're gonna keep going. Hopefully we'll be loaded within about the next hour.
How many?
We'll take 3 of those.
You've seen us loading. Now here's the day after we were at market. We had a pretty good day. We're gonna start planting red beets. I have my buddy Trevor here with me. And we're actually gonna use this machine here. It's kind of like a bike, but yet it plants seeds. With this machine we plant, here's like a pea plate. We plant peas, we plant beans, and that's what I was telling you about in my previous video up there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna plant red beets today. So right here is our red beet plate. We have the tape on here so that it doesn't plant so many red beets at one time, because if they're too thick, it just takes them a long time to grow. How it works is, right here is kind of like my hub where my plate is gonna go on. I'll just flip this on here like this. I gotta line it up right. There. And then I turn it counterclock. Yeah. No, it was clockwise. I turn it clockwise, and now it's on there. So now it's good. And what I'll do now is we're gonna plant 4 different kinds of red beets, a different kind for each row. Right here I'm gonna plant, it's called Beet Eagle from Harris Seeds. And you can kind of see here, the seeds are pretty cool. They're kind of like tiny blue rocks. So then I'll pour these in here. Okay, they're all out. And I do have another bag, but so I guess I'll pour them in. Walk anywhere, just not in these rows right here. See that with the 2 lines?
Oh yeah.
So, my dad is it playing? There's nothing I can do about that.
Can you pick them up and put them in?
I'm gonna put them on the road.
Are you not gonna have enough red beets now?
I'll have enough. My dad made these 4 rows, okay, right here. It's kind of hard to tell, but there's like 2 lines. And in these rows is fertilizer. And what that helps is, as the seeds grow, obviously that fertilizer gives nutrients to the plant, and then it grows faster and better. And so I'm gonna follow these lines right out through, and it's hard to see, but there's flags way out there. And once I get to those flags, I'm gonna stop. So as I go along here, you'll see how it works. The biggest thing is I gotta make sure I have a lot of pressure like in the soil, so that way my seeds are getting very deep enough. And also, I gotta make sure I'm keeping the bike within the row, and I gotta make sure I don't get clogged up with rocks and stuff like that.
That's good footage right there.